Governor Greg Abbott is one of the most prominent pro-life governors that's currently serving, and he advocates for a lot of horrible things that could very much result in people's death. And I think it's really important to talk about things like that because it's important to not just say, hey, I disagree with the pro-life movement for this, that, or the other reason, or I don't like this piece of legislation. I think it's important to point out the hypocrisy that these people, if it does not involve controlling a woman, they do not care about protecting human life at all. For any individual pro-life people watching, I get that there's a difference. Maybe you, as a pro-life person, do believe in preserving human life. That's great. The movement and the political leadership of the pro-life movement, they have a different agenda. They care about controlling and punishing women, and they care about pushing religious views on other people. That is what they care about. So for this story, I will have 2 articles in the description. One is from Safety and Health, one is from the Texas Tribune. If you would like to check out either of those, I'm going to quote from the Texas Tribune first. Article title reads, "As Texas swelters, local rules requiring water breaks for construction workers will soon be nullified." What a great idea. If there's anywhere I would want to do this, it's definitely the hottest state in the states. What a great idea. House Bill 2127 was passed by the Texas legislature during 2023's legislative session. Supporters of the law have said it will eliminate a patchwork of local ordinances across the state that bog down businesses. Well, we can't get people's safety in the way of company profits. This is outrageous. Thank goodness someone like Governor Abbott has the gall to take on these hot button issues. Look, if keeping people alive bogs down your business doesn't deserve to be functioning. Your business doesn't deserve to be operational. I've heard of considering employees replaceable, but this is a little bit ridiculous. The law will nullify ordinances enacted by Austin in 2010 and Dallas in 2015 that established 10-minute breaks every 4 hours so that construction workers can drink water and protect themselves from the sun. It also prevents other cities from passing such rules in the future. All this bullshit over 10-minute breaks. 10-minute breaks. 10-minute breaks for every 4 hours of work. When we're talking about people who are physically exerting themselves in extreme heat, that is extremely reasonable. This is not some big government red tape issue. This is not authoritarianism. This is a reasonable regulation that is there to protect people. And honestly, just with it being Texas, I think it would be pretty reasonable for that break time to be double the amount. Texas is the state where the most workers die from heat temperatures. Government data shows at least 42 workers died in Texas between 2011 and 2021 from environmental heat exposure, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Do not let anyone tell you that this lousy piece of shit is pro-life. He is pro-forced birth. Human life obviously has very little value to him. Governor Abbott is foaming at the mouth to remove protections for all kinds of people. Governor Abbott loves attacking rules that are there to protect people. So I don't really care about all of these fake-ass, pathetic speeches about how much he values human life, when he makes it so blatantly obvious that he does not care about human life. And not to mention, when it comes to things like heat stroke, even if you do not get overheated to the point that you die, it can still do pretty significant damage to your body. It is still a major health concern if you are consistently overheated. And when it comes to those who do really physical work in extreme weather conditions, I just want to point out how absolutely selfish it is to want construction workers to exert themselves in those kind of conditions with no protections so that you can sit in a comfortable house with air conditioning and running water while also believing that those workers don't deserve protection so they can survive their shift. What is the matter with anybody who would advocate for this? Now on to the second article. As of September 1st, 2023, Texas can't take away workers' water breaks, judge rules. A Texas judge has struck down a recently signed state law that would prohibit local municipalities and counties from mandating water breaks for workers. So this is really what it boils down to for anyone who argues in favor of getting rid of these water breaks to protect people. Arguing that eliminating mandatory water breaks for those working in extreme heat is somehow fighting back against big government just doesn't make any sense. First of all, friendly reminder, we're talking about 10-minute water breaks here, okay? This is not some outrageous, insane thing. This is such a non-issue, okay? I just want to remind you, this is a non-issue. If you are offended that your employees working in extreme heat might need some water breaks, the problem is you, dollface. If you want your workers to be unsafe, you don't deserve to be in business. This is such a non-issue. But second of all, if you really want to argue that this is about fighting back against authoritarianism, this is about fighting back against big government red tape and ridiculous regulations that are hurting businesses, then answer me this question. How can you be in favor, if you are so anti-big government, of the state government telling districts and counties and all local governments within the state that they are not allowed to make any rules regarding water breaks that they deem necessary for their local area? That sounds pretty big government to me, because it's not about big government. It's not about fighting back against big government. It's not about big government versus small government. It is about people who want to hurt other people, like Governor Greg Abbott. That is what this piece of garbage stands for. That is what he uses his position to do. When there are protections to keep people safe, people like Abbott can't help but feeling their skin crawl and feeling like they have to do something about it. The bill's sponsor, Representative Dustin Burrows, did make a statement about this. Quote, "The Texas Supreme Court will ultimately rule this law to be completely valid. The ruling today has no legal effect or precedent and should deter no Texan from availing themselves of their rights when House Bill 2127 becomes law on September 1st. The right this fool is referring to is the right to deny 10-minute water breaks, 10-minute water breaks, to people who are physically exerting themselves in record-breaking heat waves. What kind of jackass is so hateful and so bitter and hates American workers so much that he doesn't want laws in place that could protect their lives?" So on this particular issue, I don't know much anything else about Mr. Burrows here, but I would put him in the same category of Abbott. He just can't stand laws that make people safe. He just doesn't want regulations that make people safe. 10-minute water breaks for every 4 hours of work is not going to kill a business. But even if it did, I'm so sick of people like this claiming that they care so much about human life, and then they go and do things like this. You do not care about human life. You are infuriated when there are laws that are in place to protect human life, and you display that regularly. So spare me the bullshit when you want to claim that human life is something you consider to be valuable. American workers deserve basic protections. Now we can go back and forth on how far and wide those protections should be, but this is about the most reasonable regulation I've ever heard of in my life. To attack it is absolute nonsense, and it is a very anti-life position. And even when people do not die from this, they can still face severe health consequences. And to have no care for that is absolutely unconscionable. Now, I do not have any more stories about Greg Abbott planned at the moment, but I promise you, we will be talking about this guy plenty of times going forward. Because at the end of the day, I do view him as someone dangerous, not just someone I disagree with. But anyways, that is all I have for this video. Like I said, both of those articles are linked in the description if you'd like to go and read any of those for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, half this video, or even just a quarter of this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe.